The first documentary told the story. The second one followed where everyone went. This one is about what stayed. Before IZONE was IZONE, they were 12 girls staring at each other in a dorm with no idea how to live together. 2 idol systems, 2 languages, 2 completely different ways of doing things. The Korean members came from trainee rooms where structure was built into the routine from day one. The Japanese members came from a system built around theater stages and fan handshake events. Put them under the same roof, and the gaps showed up fast. But so did the people who stepped up to close them. Some of those connections started before debut even happened. During Produce 48, Sakura and Chaeyeon drew matching rings on each other's hands. Small, handmade, easy to miss if you were not looking. By the finale, when the host asked Sakura who she wanted to dedicate her speech to, she did not hesitate. She looked at Chaeyeon and said she wanted to debut with her together. Fan cams from that night showed Sakura calm throughout the whole episode. Calm during the rankings, calm during the announcements. Then the moment her eyes met Chaeyeon's, everything broke. She cried through the rest of it. And when Chaeyeon's name was finally called as the 12th member, Sakura could barely stand. That was the start. Then they debuted, moved in together, and strangers became family. Chaeyeon quietly became the bridge in Dorm 1. She taught Sakura, Nako, Hitomi, and Wonyoung how to use the Korean appliances. She walked the Japanese members through everyday Korean phrases. She made sure the younger ones were helping with chores. Nobody asked her to do it. She just did. And then there was the leader question. IZONE had not officially chosen one yet, but Eunbi had already been acting like it. She was the oldest. She looked after everyone. She carried the weight without being asked. So the other 11 decided to have some fun. Before the announcement, they set up a hidden camera. They casually discussed the role, pretending Chaeyeon was the obvious choice. They praised her Japanese skills, making Eunbi think she was the less practical option. Eunbi, selfless as always, quietly nodded and agreed, willing to step aside for the group.
은비 언니 사랑해요. 은비 언니.
Then the prank broke. They wanted her. All of them. They had written her a letter too. When she read it, she could not hold it in. The prank worked because it was real, and she had been so busy taking care of everyone that she almost missed how much they cared back. That dynamic set the tone for everything. These were not 12 performers sharing a schedule. They were turning into a family fast. Some of it showed up in the small stuff that only people who watched every behind-the-scenes clip would know. The Suspenderz line, Yena, Yujin, Hyewon, and Chaeyeon constantly breaking VLIVE rules because they could not stop being chaotic together. Minju's exaggerated reactions to everything, screaming about fractures when someone barely touched her, earning her the nickname
민주가 또!
which roughly meant Minju's at it again.
아직 다들 잘 모르시는구나. 제 플레이미 김민주 엣제이거든요.
On her very first episode as Music Core MC, she called herself Minju Angel, and it trended nationwide. Chaewon never let her live it down, teasing her about it at every chance. ONE CHU gave fans even more. the haunted school episode became a classic. Yena and Yuri, who spent the whole time bickering, ended up running terrified into each other's arms when something actually spooked them. Hyewon walked into the same dark room and strolled through the haunted set, completely unfazed by the ghosts jumping out at her. Nako was supposed to make an entrance with Sakura and Minju during Fantasy Campus, but she was so small the others could not even see her behind them.
왔어. 실루엣들이 보여.
Years later, during their eating trip variety series, they played an impersonation game. Each member had to act like another member, copying their habits and catchphrases. They nailed it, every single one of them. Down to the smallest movements, the things they did off-screen, quirks the members themselves did not even realize they had. That was the part that hit different. You do not notice those things unless you have spent real time with someone, unless you have been paying attention, unless they matter to you. And they did it in a fraction of the time most groups ever get. The concerts and comebacks are easy to remember. They are recorded, uploaded, replayed millions of times. But WIZ ONEs held on to the quieter things too. Like Minju showing up at Chaewon's graduation in February 2019. Chaewon promised she would be at Minju's graduation the following year. She meant it. But when February 2020 arrived, COVID had already started spreading. Outsiders were restricted. The ceremony was held inside a classroom, and Chaewon could not get in.
원영이 보려고 제가 여기까지 왔거든요. 너무 귀엽다, 나.
What they wrote into their music said even more. Eunbi had been quietly building a production side since early in IZONE's run. Working with her team, Psycho Rabbit, she composed and wrote Spaceship for the Bloom Eyes album. A song about flying off to new places with the people you love. It sounded lighthearted, but coming from the leader who carried everyone's weight on her shoulders, it felt like a wish. Yuri wrote Someday, a piano ballad about walking through darkness with someone beside you, about believing that even the hardest moments will eventually pass. Minju and Hitomi co-wrote Really Like You, an acoustic song about being together. Sakura and Minju wrote Love Bubble together. Every member who picked up a pen wrote about the same thing: being together, staying close, and holding on. The most personal song came from the silence. In November 2019, the vote manipulation scandal froze everything. IZONE's comeback was canceled. Activities stopped. Appearances disappeared. For 3 months, the members could not speak publicly. They could not perform, they could not explain, they just waited. When they finally returned in 2020 with the Oneric Diary album, it carried a song called With One. Eunbi's team produced it, but the lyrics came from all 12 members. Every single one of them wrote something. What came out was everything they had wanted to say during those months of silence. Their mixed emotions, their frustration, their gratitude, all of it poured into one song for the fans who had stayed. During the Oneric Diary comeback show, the members sent video messages to each other.
권은비 언니.
은비 언니, 안녕.
One by one, they talked about Eunbi, about how she always listened, how she carried their worries, how they always went to her first. Hyewon mentioned that Eunbi would send long messages to the group chat whenever someone was going through a hard time. Yuri's message hit the hardest. She told Eunbi that all 11 of them bring their worries to her, but she worried that Eunbi had nowhere to bring hers.
힘들 때는 털어놔도 좋고 편히 기대도 좋으니까 힘든 일 있으면 언제든지 저한테 와서 편히 기대요.
Eunbi cried watching their messages. When the cameras came back to her, she admitted something she had been carrying quietly, that being the leader comes with a weight she rarely talks about.
아니 이번에는 이끌어 나가려고 하니까 근데 뭔가 이렇게 완벽하지 않아가지고 내가 잘 못했다는 것 같아. 아니에요. 그래서 좀 티를 안 냈지만 살짝 부담스러운데.
That was the one time she let them carry her instead. Then there was Fiesta. The song that was supposed to come out in November 2019 finally arrived in February 2020.
더쇼 초이스의 주인공은
IZONE 축하합니다.
When it won its first music show trophy, the members broke down on stage. Not the controlled, careful kind of crying you see at award shows. This is the real kind. Eunbi cried first. Then it spread. They hugged each other and held on like they had been holding their breath for 3 months and could finally let it out. On stage, WIZ ONEs started catching the small habits too. During the 2019 Eyes on Me concert tour, IZONE's first real concerts, the emotions caught up to everyone. Wonyoung tried to hold it in. She said she was not going to cry because she thought WIZ ONEs would be happier if she stayed strong. She was fine until Eunbi looked at her and said thank you. Then she could not stop. Soon, the whole group was crying and holding each other on stage. It was the kind of moment where you realize they are not performing closeness. They just are that close. And there was the Panorama music video. Hitomi had a crying scene that everyone thought was deeply moving. Real tears, no eye drops. Fans wondered what memory she had pulled from. Then the behind-the-scenes footage came out.
냉장고에서 음식이 사라졌다.
The director had told her to imagine that all the food in the fridge had gone missing. So Hitomi pictured her yogurt disappearing, and it worked perfectly. That was IZONE. Deeply emotional 1 second. Completely ridiculous the next. Sometimes, both at the same time.
damn damn. 힐링 파트. 파이팅.
March 2021 brought their last concert. 2 farewell songs were performed during those 2 nights that you will never find on a streaming platform. On day 1, IZONE performed Lesson, a Japanese ballad composed by Yena for the group. The lyrics talked about everything they had learned together during 30 months, about how the time had come to move on, even if it hurt to let go. Grateful and honest at the same time. It was never officially released. It exists only in fan recordings from that night. On day 2, IZONE performed Parallel Universe, written and produced by Eunbi and her team. The song promised the fans that their time together would be an everlasting miracle. That even if they could not see each other, the members would keep finding their way back to each other. That somewhere, in a parallel universe, they were still together. 2 farewell songs, one from the leader, one from the mood maker, both unreleased, both made specifically for that goodbye, and both still circulating among fans through unofficial recordings years later because the songs were never given a proper home anywhere else. What came after the songs was harder to watch. The members took turns speaking, and nobody made it through without breaking down. Minju said the words that stayed with WIZ ONEs the longest, that she felt alone before IZONE and could not imagine going back to being alone. Fans named their response after Eunbi's song. The Parallel Universe project hit its initial goal of 1 billion won in 20 minutes. It kept going. By the time it ended, WIZ ONEs had raised over 3.2 billion won, all of it aimed at keeping the group together. Negotiations happened. Then they fell apart. The goodbye stayed the goodbye. 5 years should be enough time to move on. For most groups, it is. Old connections fade, schedules pull people apart. The gap between we were in a group together and we used to know each other gets wider without anyone noticing. IZONE never let the gap grow. They still have a group chat, though it only really comes alive on birthdays. But the private messages never stopped. Small, consistent check-ins, the kind that don't mean much on the surface, but say everything about how much they still care. When Yuri landed her role in Squid Game, the members sent her photos saying they were starting the binge watch. Wonyoung reached out separately to congratulate her, and Yuri said those words made her think she needed to be a better friend to her members. That even small messages like that can mean more than you realize. Yena jokingly told Yuri she owed her a meal now that she was a Netflix star. They had been keeping in touch a lot. The reunion moments showed up in public too. At award shows, members found each other backstage year after year. There was the W Korea event where Chaewon, Yuri, Yujin, and Wonyoung shared the frame again. Every time a photo surfaced with multiple members together, it traveled through fan accounts within minutes. 5 out of 12 at one event, 3 at another. Each time, the same feeling. Not enough, but still something. Variety shows kept bringing them back together too. Every time 2 or 3 of them shared a set, they picked up exactly where they left off. But not every day had that. Yuri once said,
아무래도 그룹 활동할 때는 이제 대기하면서 같이 막 밥을 먹기도 하고
그렇죠.
그리고
다
막
같이.
연습도 같이 하기도 하고
네.
그러는데 이번에는 대기 시간이 조금 뭐랄까 외롭긴 하더라고요.
아, 대기 시간.
that kind of quiet stays with you. Then in July 2025, a Spot TV interviewer asked Yuri the question WIZ ONEs always ask. Is an IZONE reunion possible? Yuri was honest. No talks or plans yet. But if it ever happens, she would absolutely take part. No matter what. No promises, no timeline. Just the door, still might open. 5 years is a long time. Long enough for 12 people to build completely separate careers across different countries, different industries, different lives. But the way they keep finding each other says something. The birthday messages, the backstage hugs, the way they talk about each other in interviews without being asked. It is not nostalgia. Nostalgia fades. This is something they are still choosing. This was never about the story. You already know the story. You already know where everyone went. This one was about the in-between. The leader vote prank, the hand-drawn rings, a yogurt that made someone cry on camera, 12 sets of lyrics written during 3 months of silence, 2 songs that still have no home except fan recordings and memory. 5 years later, these are the things WIZ ONEs carry. The small stuff. The stuff that never made it to a chart or a trophy or a headline. And somehow, 5 years later, the 12 of them are still choosing each other, still texting, still showing up, still saying yes if anyone asks. So, we wait. And we hold on. Because they taught us how.